cars are rolling once again in Pocono. The ARCA Pocono 200 about to get back underway. We've completed 35 of the 80 scheduled laps, and the fog has lifted enough to where we can clearly see, I shouldn't say clearly, but we can see turn 2 fairly well.
Yeah, we could see turn 3 from this camera right here.
I thought maybe they were going to stop and put windshield wipers on so we could finish this thing.
Chet Hockenbraw needs a push off of pit road.
Man, that's our buddy from last week.
Chicagoland, yeah, but they will not penalize him for this during a red flag. They will push him, and he will be able to rejoin the field in the 8th spot, which is where he was running. As long as they can get it started.
So the field making their way back off of pit road onto the racetrack, falling behind the pace car.
Based on the conditions of the track, before we stopped, I'd be sitting there saying, "Won't crank. Sorry, it won't go. Push me in the garage."
Get out in front. Chris Buescher leading this race. Ty Dillon runs second. Tim George Jr., Brennan Poole, and Frank Kimmel your top 5. Hessert, Enfinger, Hockenbraw, McCumbee, and Sean Corr your top 10. Another car, the 59.
Buster Graham not able to refire.
Pits will be open this time by if they want to duck onto pit road. Top off with fuel. They're still waiting to get the 58 of Chad Hockenbraw fired back up. Now, how much strategy goes into what you do now, DW, Phil?
Well, I mean, the front runners have all made their pit stops, so they're pretty good to go here. I don't think anybody's anticipating, based on what we've seen. You know, we're 5 laps from halfway. I mean, are we racing to halfway, or are we going to try to run this whole thing? We'll change our strategy once we know that.
And we know we can't make it from here.
Yeah.
On fuel. We can't make it 45 laps.
Got to see what happens.
The field moving once again at Pocono. Stay with us. Green flag coming up next. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania, the Pocono Raceway. We're about to go back to racing. We've completed 36 laps. This will be the 37th lap with just 43 laps of racing to go here.
The fog is really lifted now. This is the best vision we've had since the very start of this race.
Just a little worried about the, you know, where the track is nice and dry, but they handled it earlier. I guess we'll be fine.
Green flag back in the air. Chris Buescher, Ty Dillon, 1 and 2 as they race past the start-finish line and into turn number 1.
We'll hold our breath here while we head off into turn 1, see how the thing's going to do, see if it's going to stick or not.
Buescher, the first one in, and the first one out of turn number 1.
Pretty good. Didn't see anybody sliding around much.
Our officials did a nice job checking the racetrack over, making sure that it was dry.
Yeah, they wouldn't turn them. I mean, the officials are not going to say, hey, we're going to go racing, and the conditions are not good. They know what they're doing. Get a little tight across the
racing early on.
There's a battle. That's Grant Enfinger going the inside, making it 3 wide, trying to get by Tom Hessert in the 52.
Hessert on the high side, the 52. Enfinger in the blue, 36 on the inside as they go down the front stretch.
Chad Hockenbraw, the 58 car, was able to get his car refired on pit road, following Hessert.
Chris Buescher, Ty Dillon, 1 and 2 going into turn 1.
Phil, I'm really can't believe how nice the track is. I mean, as much rain as we were seeing on our camera lens, and we can see there's still some there now, but everybody's handling it perfectly.
Kimmel holding on to the 5th spot.
I think it never rained real hard. It was just an issue with the fog where the officials and the spotters couldn't see the cars on the back side of the racetrack.
It was just a little drizzle.
Visibility problems. Stopped the race. We had a red flag condition. And now back to green flag racing. Coming up on the halfway point, a lap away from it.
You know, that 17 car, Buescher, he ran that low line off of turn 3, and the car really stuck good for him. He's got a good handling car right now.
He was only about a half a second off the pole winning time of Brennan Poole. That last lap, he ran a 54.33. The pole was a 53.80.
You mentioned Brennan Poole. He is all over the back bumper now of that 31 of Tim George Jr. And we're hearing from the ARCA officials they're taking a look at the 44. He might have a window net coming down.
Brennan Poole thought about making a look to the inside of the 31 of Tim George. Nothing that time.
You know, based on the interview we did with him when he was sitting there on pit road, that kid's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's been just a little cautious, being sure the track's in good enough shape for him to make some moves here, which he's getting ready to look like.
Tim George Jr. trying to hold off that 25 Wendy Benarini.
Well, Jim and I had the opportunity to talk to many of these drivers during that red flag condition, and that included Tim George Jr. He actually had a little snack during that break. He ate some Lance Armstrong vanilla wafers, as he was showing me. But right now, he's fighting that race car against Brennan Poole. On the adjustments that they made, absolutely none at lap 19. He took 4 tires. He said the car was the best it was at that exact moment. We're just following them on the radio to see what exactly they could do to make his car a little bit better, as the 25 did get by him.
Yeah, that 25 is fast. He made a nice move down there in turn 1 on the outside of Tim George and was able to get by him. Now he's closed right up on the back of Ty Dillon, and I think he's got the momentum now.
Yeah, he really gained on time through that corner. Both of them running up in the grip strip.
A lap past halfway. And it's still Chris Buescher out in front. Ty Dillon giving chase, and Brennan Poole all over the back bumper of Ty Dillon.
Great race right now. Top 3 cars all together. Tim George about 5-6 car lengths behind. Poole gets loose on the high side.
Yeah, he got up a little wee bit too high. He made that work the last time by, but he got a little up in the gray, and I'm sure there's not any grip up there. You saw the car really wiggle around, almost spun the thing out.
That momentum, losing that momentum, is bringing Tim George Jr. right back into play.
He's had trouble in that corner already. We saw the car real sideways there before we had that last caution. So he's working it.
28 of Jake Crum on the inside of that 23 of Nick Igdalski. Nick Igdalski actually the president here at Pocono Raceway.
Yeah, and you know, watching those 2 guys race, that's the worst position you can find yourself in. When you're down underneath somebody and you just about have them cleared, but you're not quite sure, is he going to let me up or not? Saw that last night in the truck race.
He had a situation with Matt Crafton and Austin Dillon.
Yeah.
Ty's older brother, Austin. Matt didn't realize that Ty had his nose stuck up in there, came up the racetrack, made contact, and it turned Matt Crafton into the outside wall.
Chris Buescher checking out now on Ty Dillon. He's put 5 car lengths between himself and second.
You see here.
Watch that slow car up on top of the racetrack.
It's getting a little dicey right here, boys.
Benny Chastain at 75, not
Poole
at
now.
speed.
That's a nice move that he made right there. Went down on the inside, was able to get by all these guys.
Ty actually lost another spot to his teammate Tim George. Tim moves now up into the 3rd spot. Ty back to 4th.
Just not real sure which way to go with the traffic. Didn't know if they were going to stay a holder line or move or whatever. Created that problem there.
Ty Dillon in the 41 has dropped back to the 4th spot. Tim George Jr. up to 3rd. Brennan Poole running 2nd.
There are the teammates racing side by side. The 31 Tim George, the 41 Ty Dillon.
And you can see how that rev limiter works on these cars. In a Cup car, you would be able to get that draft and go right by that guy. Here you just saw it stall out because of the limited RPM.
Ooh, Ty way high up off the tunnel turn. Lost 3 or 4 car lengths to Tim George.
And that tunnel turn is a momentum turn. You got to be able to stay in the gas and run up off that corner, and you get a lot of momentum that way. But if you have to get out of the gas, it just kills your speed across that short chute, which hurts you in turn 3.
Chris Buescher out in front of the field in the 17, and Brennan Poole all over his back bumper now. So can Brennan Poole keep it pointed the right direction in turn number 1 and catch up to Chris Buescher? Stay with us.